Welcome to Pure Hustle Podcast. I'm Mike.
And this is Orlando, and we are on episode 16.
16.
Wait, before we get started, 16. Do you know what football player had the number 16?
No.
Come on. Remember, this is the guy that, I wanted to work at the school that his kids were going to so I could have a parent-teacher conference with them. He gave me a hard time. He called me a stalker.
Yeah, that was a little weird. I don't remember who it was, though. I'm not like a sports fan.
You guys know, come on, Joe Montana.
Okay. And
Joe
I
Montana.
was like a semi-Niners fan, so.
That's why this is a special episode, number
Wow.
16.
All right, so Joe Montana, if you're out there, this one's for you.
Yeah.
Let us know how
What are the
your reselling
chances?
is going.
I'm sure they're going really well. All right, hey, so today is a very important day. You know why?
I believe today is Q4 officially, right?
Q4.
Wow.
That
We've been
means-
talking about it, and it's here.
That means we're all rich already.
Yeah,
It's the first day.
Like immediately, like 100 sales today.
Oh, we just scaled up. It's done.
Yeah.
Like our podcast, we don't even need it anymore.
Yeah, I could retire.
Well, it's not. It is not. It's kind of one of those things where you wake up and like, yes, it's Q4, but it's the same.
Yep. You got to. Q4 is kind of arbitrary in the sense of a date, if you think about it.
What? Explain that to me.
Okay, I mean, like,
Oh, not a date like you're going out on a date.
no, yeah.
Okay,
No,
okay.
like the
I thought you were going
actual,
somewhere or something.
no, the actual date is kind of, like when people say like, oh, today's the first day of winter, today's the first day of summer, and it's like, well, it's been hot for like 3 weeks, so who cares what the official first day was? Like, if you go based off of kind of the signs of what it is, and I feel like probably the same with Q4. So technically on a calendar it's Q4, but Q4 is that time when the Christmas season starts to go. So it's going to pick up as time goes. Maybe not necessarily today. So if you didn't get 100 cha-chings today, it's okay.
It is okay. And by the way, you're probably not going to get a ton of cha-chings or a ton of Amazon sales probably till after Black Friday. That's one of the things that I kind of had to take notice of. Now, it doesn't mean sales don't pick up. They do pick up. I think a lot of you have already noticed. Have you noticed some little bit of pickup? You're not getting the summer heat that you're getting instead of the summer slowdown?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, like proportionally, like I'm getting consistent sales just about every day. I'm getting a sale or so. But
Wait, before we continue. So, if you haven't heard our first few episodes, okay, Mike was starting off on eBay, and did you experience summer slowdown?
no, not at all.
That's why I called it summer heat.
Yeah, it was like I couldn't keep items in my store. Like I only had like 20 or 30 items in my store, and they were selling like 2 or 3 a day. It was ridiculous.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it was pretty stupid. I enjoyed it. I have this theory that it was something that eBay was doing to try and hook the new guy type of a thing.
Conspiracy again.
Yeah. But it
Okay.
worked. Now
All right, so tell me about now.
it's good. It's been consistent.
And you're
Between
doing Poshmark
yeah,
too,
between
right?
Poshmark and eBay, it's been consistent. But it's not a sale every day on eBay necessarily, but between eBay and Poshmark, it's pretty much a sale every day. And then on the weekends, might cap at like 5 to 7 sales in a day. So it's been pretty good.
That's good. Okay, and Q4, again, I don't think it's going to really take off until November. But I do want to make sure people are aware, like if there's hot toys, some of those hot toys sell in October. Because I remember last year holding on, and then I never got the price I wanted. And we'll talk about that. We have an episode coming up about mistakes to avoid in Q4. So, do you keep an eye out for podcasts? Do you keep an ear out?
Well, I guess you could do both. You could look.
That's
for
right,
the
because we have
podcast.
YouTube. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Anyways, so keep an eye out for that. So I'm excited about Q4. I woke up and I was pretty pumped. I mean,
You're such a nerd.
what do you mean?
I can imagine like it's first day of Christmas. You wake up and you like sung and dance like Q4. Like
See, and that's the
a
sad
musical.
thing is Q4 has overshadowed Christmas for me. Is that sad?
A little bit.
I think it's because I look forward to. I do love. Trust me, I love Christmas. Like right now, Halloween. Is this gonna be bad? We're gonna lose people when I say this. Like I wish we just fast forwarded to Thanksgiving. Like, because to me, Christmas begins as soon as Halloween's over. Right? It's not, December 25, 25th. Okay. And it's not, after Thanksgiving, how people put up their Christmas tree. Not in my house. Halloween's done. We're putting up the tree.
That's pretty intense.
That's how we roll.
Yeah.
Because I love Christmas.
Yeah, we definitely in my house have decorations for every season. So Thanksgiving needs its time, and then Christmas gets its time. So we have our, fall pumpkins and leaves and stuff in the
Nice.
house, and that comes down after Thanksgiving, and then on Black Friday, Christmas tree goes up.
Yeah, no, too busy Black Friday. Actually, we don't celebrate Thanksgiving till the end of Black Friday
Hmm.
because I'm already by 3 or 4 in the afternoon, I'm already waiting in line to get into stores.
I could see how that would work for certain people, but other people, you got those family. I hear some people that they're going to, like, 8 houses on a Thanksgiving or a
I get
Christmas,
that.
so, but yeah, I mean, the crazy thing too with Black Friday is it's not Black Friday anymore. I worked at Target several years ago, we've talked about it a little bit,
Yeah.
and it was, like, Thursday at, like, 7 or
Well,
6
that's what I
when
mean.
they
that's
open. Yeah,
why
they
that's why the
start
holidays
earlier and
not the
earlier
same
and
for me
earlier.
anymore.
Yeah.
It's okay. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, down the road. All right. So Q4, make
Q4.
sure you're out there sourcing. Make sure you are understanding what you need to source for what platform, and just be patient. Right? Don't expect that. Hey, I sent all this stuff to Amazon, and why isn't it selling? It will sell as long as it's properly ranked and it's the item that has good reviews and so on. So okay. So who should do the update here?
Well, what about you? So you told me a couple weeks ago that you were planning on getting all those train tracks listed and those trains listed. And how's that going for you?
Well, okay, so you've seen this on Instagram if you follow us on Instagram. I did get, let's say, 3/4 of the tracks listed. It just was so overwhelming.
Mm.
It literally is 100 pounds. And then it's dingy, it's gross. And then it's like you got to stack them up
Are you
nicely.
washing the pieces? Are you like
No,
filling up your
no, I don't
bathtub with
even clean
water and throw?
shoes or no. Like, why would I waste my time with that? And then I was like, "Oh, I have to do research into what kind of specific tracks?"
Mm,
And then it just felt very overwhelming. And then at the same time, I also hired a helper.
mm.
And so that distracted me a lot.
Now, shouldn't the helper not distract you, but actually make
Okay,
posting those tracks
no,
easier?
no, no, no. Okay, but the tracks are something I wanted to take care of.
Gotcha.
Like I
That
felt
was
kind
your
of
baby.
bad saying, "Here's 2 totes full of tracks. Organize these in." Wait, maybe, maybe I
It's a
should.
good idea, right?
Okay. Anyways, all right. But
Sorry, helper. I just gave you some more work.
I don't think she listens to our podcast, so I think we're okay.
Okay,
All
cool.
right. Well, the helper's been phenomenal, and this is why. So I brought her on, and the main goal was for her to take pictures of, let's say, shoes and hats and kind of items that I bought a light box, and you could do it in the light box,
Mm,
and that was my expectation. Also, the other expectation was for her to organize the rest of my inventory. So her brother had actually done all my inventory as far as shoes go, so those were all organized. And then I had all these hats that needed to be organized. And then as a result of doing all this inventory, I think I have like 50 or 60 items that aren't listed that I thought were listed.
ooh,
So I have just money that's just been sitting there that I would have never known. It would have been sitting in a tote till who knows when.
yep. You're like, man, this thing is never selling.
Yeah, it's crazy because I'm looking at this stuff and I had some good stuff, some Doc Martens, some shape ups, all
Mm,
those bolos we've been talking about. And so I've been busy. It's kind of like when I worked in not it was in the corporate world in education. Like my assistant, she would always get annoyed with me because she would always go like, "Orlando, you never have work for me." Because in order to provide work for somebody, you have to do some work too,
that's true. Yep.
right? And
Oh, I
so
mean, I get that. I'm a teacher, and if you don't know, calling out sick as a teacher is way
oh,
worse than just
it's
going
terrible,
in.
just terrible.
Like,
All
it's
you
just better
teachers
just to
out
go
there,
in.
a lot of respect because I get that. I remember those days. So what ended up happening was I had to get all these items ready. So she's done all the inventory and she's incredible. This is why. She not only takes pictures of the items and starts the listing. By the way, I'm using InkFrog. It's a third-party application.
Hmm.
So a
I think
lot
you
of
talked
you
about that last time, right?
yeah, a lot of you experienced sellers know about that. But if you're new and you haven't heard about it and you're looking to bring on a helper, InkFrog is pretty affordable. I think the plan I'm on is about 30 a month. But anyways, make a long story short, she's researching these items for me. So give you an example, I had a bunch of minor league baseball hats that were new with tags. And I don't recognize these minor league
Mm,
teams. And so when I came to pick up all the hats, I picked them up and then I went on InkFrog because what she does is she takes pictures, uploads them, begins the listing by putting the title,
mm.
updates the description a little bit by doing the self similar. And I go on there and I go, wait a second. why does she have this all like spelled out, like the team and the city and
Mm,
so on? And then I do Google searches and she's right on all of them.
wow.
So this is definitely working out really well.
Nice.
So I mean, I'm thinking about, I can do probably 10 to 15 listings if I'm dedicated in like 30 minutes. Right? Because
Holy cow.
all I'm doing is, she's already done a lot of
Right.
legwork. She uploads all the pictures for me. She starts the listing. All I have to make sure is that the keywords are good, pictures are good. And there was one time where she accidentally like didn't take a certain picture for like hats. Like I like taking pictures of all angles, and she
Mhm.
missed the underside of the bill. And I said, "Hey, I'm sorry to bother you, but I really need these pictures." And she's like, "No problem." And she got them all done. So that's what I mean. It's been distracting because I'm seeing all the potential, and I'm just trying to think of what more I can do. Like the
Mm,
next level will be clothing, not only taking pictures but doing the measurements.
nice.
So I want to get to a place where I'm just sourcing.
That would be that would be my dream job is just the sourcing. And luckily, I mean, we talked about it before. That's kind of the pattern my wife and I are working on right now. Is she does not mind the listing and research and taking the pictures.
Hmm.
I hate that part.
Yeah,
I don't. I mean, I'll do it, but to me, sourcing is the most exciting part. So we've got a good like teamwork thing going. So yeah, I think if you can find that, if you can find somebody to help you or share the burden with you and take on part of the responsibility that you might not enjoy as much, and then that would be ideal.
it would be, and especially now that Q4 is starting. If I have Amazon full steam ahead and eBay, it's gonna be a good Q4. All right, tell me about your awesome, incredible garage of garages for reselling.
Well,
You're supposed to do a bunch of work, and let me read out what you said. I
all right,
wrote it down.
please do.
You said you're gonna set up a photo booth,
Uh huh.
you're gonna organize your garage and build like new shelving,
Uh huh.
and then you're gonna develop testing stations for your
Yep.
electronics. So how'd that all go?
So I'm really bad at planning, like spatial planning. And my garage, for those of you who don't know, we're out of San Diego, and um, property in San Diego is so expensive. Like getting any kind of square footage is tough. So our garage is a one car garage, and in my mind, I'm thinking I've got a lot more space than I have. So we've got our garage set up pretty much to the limit of what we can do now. We've got multiple shelving units. We've got our tote set up. I do have a testing station.
Ooh,
It's not ideal because it's kind of in the corner, and I still have to like move stuff to like get to it. But I found at a garage sale it was really awesome because I was looking for on Craigslist a like a small TV that I could use for hooking up VCRs and
okay.
old video game consoles and things like that. Because I was tired of bringing it inside, hooking it up to my big TV, trying to make sure I have the right cables and
I
cords
know
and
that's what I do
connectors,
right
and
now. It's so
it's
frustrating.
a nightmare. And I found like a small like 8-inch TV on Craigslist. Somebody wanted $15 for it, and I was like, oh, that'll work. But I ended up it didn't work out with their schedules to meet up. And that weekend I was at a garage sale and I found a about that size. I don't know what the exact size is. This is a smaller TV with a DVD player on it, but it's got the all the connections right in the front. And the guy asked
Does it have the
two
old school
bucks.
coax?
I
Do you know
think
what those are?
so. Yeah, yeah,
Are
yeah,
you
yeah,
too
yeah.
young to know what those are?
Like the like for an antenna like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
It's got everything.
I just forget that we're a decade apart.
Yeah. You're
Okay.
an old man. Just kidding.
Okay, so it worked
You're young
out.
and
2
fresh.
bucks, you said?
Yeah, $2. So I've
Nice.
got a TV there. I bought a surround sound receiver because I'm really familiar with vintage audio stuff. I used to be in it back when I was in high school. But I started to buy a few surround sound units that I couldn't really test, and I found at a thrift store for it was
Huh.
like $8 a surround sound receiver that now I've been able to test different speakers with.
That's
So I've got that
incredible.
whole setup, and we have a table out there with a computer like permanently set up with our Rolo printer, and it's been good.
You just had to drop the Rolo printer, didn't you?
It's working, man.
You
If you
couldn't
don't
just
have one
said
yet,
printer, you had to say
well,
Rolo printer.
but that's the thing too. So that same garage sale that I picked up that TV because we got the Rolo printer for our labels.
See, he can't just say printer. He keeps saying Rolo.
I got a label printer because there's a
Okay.
difference between a
I
printer.
know,
When
but
I
he's
say
trying to up me. Like,
printer,
I feel like you're trying to up my old school Epson that I still use.
you're losing money. I'm
It's
telling
the
you,
the ink is cheap.
ink is not cheap.
I'm interested in what people have to say. I'm gonna put this on an Insta story.
Well, we
I'm gonna
did.
lose. I know I'm gonna lose.
I'm
But
telling you, Rolo is so fast, and you don't pay for ink at all because it's thermal paper. and the paper is super cheap. Like each label is like less than a penny or something like that when you buy them in bulk, and it's just heat, so they print out in like less than a second, and there's no ink at all.
Okay.
And you can
Alright.
batch print, so you can boop, 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 and it's just printing out your labels. You stick it on the box, you're
Okay,
good to
maybe we
go.
don't need to put that. You won. All right.
Yep,
Okay, tell
Rolo
me what you're
printer.
gonna say though. Something about the
So,
printer.
yeah, the same garage sale that I got that little TV at, there was a printer with some ink on it. And I was interested in buying the inks. If you remember a couple weeks ago, my hustle or my Bolo was, unused ink. So I wanted to buy this ink. And so I was just curious because it was like on top of the printer. And I'm thinking like I don't want like an old used printer. So I asked how much the ink was and the printer, and the guy's like, I don't know, how about $5? And there was quite a bit of ink there, so I was thinking
Yeah.
like, "Okay." I said, "$5 just for the ink?" He's like, "No, for the whole thing." And I'm looking at the printer a little bit, and I'm like, "Oh, this looks okay. It doesn't look like it's been used." It's like, "Alright, I'll just take it, and if I don't want it, I'll throw it away." I get it home. It's a brand new, never used Wi-Fi printer with, like, the little
Oh my goodness.
film that you, like is on top of the screens that,
Oh
like, you
yeah,
could peel
yeah.
off. All of those are still on, the stickers are on. It had never been turned on. It was amazing.
So what you do with it?
We've got it set up in the garage, so now we've got a
A
wireless
regular
printer.
printer?
Yep,
Nice.
so now we have a printer
$5.
and a
What's the
Rolo.
brand on it?
I can't even remember what it was,
It's
but
probably like
it
an Epson like mine.
maybe, but it's I'm gonna
But
be saving ink because I don't have to print shipping labels out of it.
that is true. That is true. Okay, you won. You won. All right. So photo booth, how's that go along?
There's no room, so we're still doing and we've taken some pictures and shown this a few times before, on our Instagram. If you don't follow us on Instagram, please do so. Orlando's putting stuff out almost, I mean, every day, but like every hour, there's new things coming out. I'm on there as much as I can, and yeah. So one of the
I
things we
love seeing
do,
Mike on there.
it's
He always has the random like post like out of nowhere. Like I see it. It's awesome.
but just a couple of white boards, right? From like poster boards, and we set those up, and that's been working. So we have like two tables in the garage. One is like our desk, and the other one we use for packing when we're ready to pack and ship out. And then when we're not packing, we use it as a photo booth. So
Okay. I will say though, I bought the light box for my
uh-huh.
helper, and then I bought one for myself because I had been like you for a long time. I had been doing that, and my picture is pretty quality now. I did use an old school app called Picasa, and it would
Mhm.
like brighten up the pictures,
Right.
and it didn't alter the colors too much, and so it was fine. But man, with this light box, it made a world of
What's the
difference.
price on the light box?
It's about 135. It's put up by Amazon Basics. We have no affiliate marketing, by the way. We're not going to gain any money from this. We're just trying to share with you what we think is a good idea, or at least I'm trying to. And literally, it's phenomenal. I seriously don't edit any of the photos. I
Hmm.
put my phone in square mode and I just take the pictures. And if I'll show you later. But if you look at the difference, it's actually taking better pictures than what I was doing before.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah, light boxes are.
Which I didn't think it'd be that great, but my helper, her pictures are coming out the same quality as my pictures.
Mm,
So it's been a good investment. So I don't know, maybe something to check out.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of sad. I have some extra money coming in, from here and there, odds and end things doing besides just reselling. You gotta hustle, right? And I've been thinking of like all of the
Uber?
things. No, no, not
Okay,
it.
just
So
checking.
all the things I've been wanting to, buy. Like I've got, the typical Christmas list of, board games and stuff like that. And
Ah.
but I'm getting to a place where the new things I want for Christmas are like a scanner for books that I can use at a
You are the
garage
ultimate
sale
next level guy.
or or Goodwill, or maybe a light box, right? So like my Christmas items now, the things I want are things to make reselling easier.
Nice.
Yeah. It's
Hey,
kind of
there's
sad,
nothing
but
wrong in getting gifts to provide profit.
that's right.
You're good. Pure hustle.
That's right. Pure hustle. Hustle it.
All right. Hey, let's get into our random stories. You have any random stories you want to share?
I'll let you go first. I'll have to think about that.
He has one. He does this all the time. So I don't have a random story, and a lot of you saw this on Instagram, but this Target app thing is it's not a random story, and I'm not. Maybe it's gonna sound. Let me know if I'm whining. Okay, maybe I'm already whining. Am I already whining?
Not yet, but I'm sure you'll get there.
So there's two parts to this. The one part is I want you all to be aware that there's this thing called the Target app, and sometimes the Target app, when you scan items, they end up cheaper on the app than they end up, in the store. And generally, Target, would I remember last Q4, I did this all the time. I wouldn't just use the app. I'd go to their direct website and I find things for cheaper, and I'd go to the register and I'd show them, and they would price match their own website. Makes sense, right?
Mm.
What's happening now is some targets are saying we don't price match our own website, which like boggles my mind. And I've had this happen. I want to say probably, I don't know, 3 out of 10 stores. So 7 out of 10 times, no problem.
Mm.
Like I'll go to the register, they're like, hey, it's all good, and they match it. Sometimes I feel like I can make up numbers because they don't even look. They're like, how much did they come up for? But I'm always legit with them.
Right.
And I've had these definitely interesting conversation with Target where they tell me, well, not all stores are the same. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I say, okay, so they're not all the same. So what policy do you go by? And they go, we go by Target policy. I'm like, wait, what?
That's
Wait.
some circular logic going
Yeah,
on there.
I'm not understanding. And then I said, okay, so there's Target policy, but then there's your store policy. So how do I get this price? Well, our manager has to decide. Like, wait, so it's based on the manager? No, it's based on our policy. And it just would go round and round and round. And
Gotta love
so,
circular logic.
yeah, so it's been wild. I kind of stopped going to Target because I pretty much picked up everything I wanted to pick up.
Mm.
The hard part about it is I don't know how Target's going to react to resellers in Q4 because it's obvious when you're a reseller.
Right.
When everything in your cart's a clearance item, I mean, I could pick up some Frosted Flakes and some milk or something, but it's going to be pretty obvious. So it's not really a random story. To me, it was random because I've never experienced Target being that way.
Yeah.
Like, they were very adverse. The ones that were not willing to change the price, like, they had all kinds of excuses. And I'm sure, we could have put it on social media and blown
Right.
up Target.
Well,
but-
and I kind of feel like, I mean, I'm not saying that that's what we should do, but if realistically as a customer, like if they set a clear limit on something, like you can only buy 5 per person, right? Like honor their policy. That's their policy for everyone. Do what you can, and when you're at that one target. But yeah, if they seem to be doing something that's not right, if they're not allowing you to buy something based off the price that they have, or if your cart's full of clearance stuff and they decide to say like, hey, we're not going to sell you this stuff because clearly you're a reseller, then yeah, why not record it and send it out and let Target Corporation come out and defend it and say either yes or no, like, and maybe that will allow, maybe it's like at the store level where it's individual managers that think they're doing something
But it's
special.
like a
but
two-edged sword, don't you think? Because we could do that, right? And then Target goes, you know what, you guys are right. We'll honor that, right? From now on, whatever matches. Or they could go, from now on, we're not going to match anything, right? Because at least right now we're like in limbo where it's like negotiable.
But if they come out with that publicly, then that's something that they're saying as a corporation to not just resellers, but to every customer, that the prices that we show are not the prices we're going to honor, right? Like, there's no way.
Think how terrible that sounds.
Exactly,
now.
right? They're not going to do that. Like, they're going to be, I feel like, put in a position where they have to say, if we're advertising on our website or on our application that this is the price of an item, then this is the price that we are going to sell our items at.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Because it's not, Target is not it's not a franchise, right? Like, it's not like individual owners
I
of different,
agree,
like
I
it is a
agree.
corporation and there should be a corporate level thing. And if they are putting a price out, now it's one thing if they say like online only price, okay? But if that's the price they're advertising at the store or the price that, that's different.
It's just wild because I don't know if you saw the Insta story, but one of the managers actually told me that the app is glitched. And I walked away going, wait, you're $1 billion company, so you're telling me that I can't depend on the app that you guys created. It just was wild.
Yeah, that's crazy. We had a similar situation at Walmart, and I'll keep this really brief, but we were at Walmart and we saw a baby monitor on clearance, and we have a young baby at home. So we wanted to get one for the person who like babysits him while we're at work. And we're like, oh, this is like a really good clearance price on this. So we grab it and we go up to the register and we did self-checkout and we go to check it out and it wasn't ringing up. So we call the worker over and she calls the manager over and he scans it and he says, well, this is not in our system, so I can't sell it to you.
Oh, I've had that happen.
And I'm like, well, okay, well, we're in a hurry. So we ended up leaving. I came back 2 days later for something else and I see it on the end cap again in the clearance section. And so I grab it and I go up to the register and same thing, scan it. Sorry, it's not in our system. We can't sell it to you. And I said,
So
no,
they
this
put it
is the
back on the
second.
shelf?
They put it back on the shelf. So it was the second time, same item, put it back on the shelf. We called manager over. The manager said no. And it wasn't like the store manager. And we said like, "Well, we wanna talk to somebody else." And so they called, like, the person higher up, and he came over and he said, "Well, this is the price that's on it?" And they're like, "Yeah." "Well, then just give it to him at that price." And then both the people who were standing at the registers just, like, they looked
You know
stupid
what?
for a second. They're like, okay."
Let me chime in. So here's what I find about Walmart. So Walmart and Target dynamics are very different. I find that, people always joke around about that, they go to Walmart to feel better. They were right,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, which is kind of, it's a little rude, I guess, to say that, but there's some truth to that. But I find that at Walmart, if you're able to get to the store manager, for the most part, the store manager is willing to work with you.
Hmm,
Like, for whatever reason, they kinda wanna, like, one up and just be the manager and go, give it to them for whatever price they want. Because 'cause I've had multiple experiences where things weren't working out, I get to the manager goes, I'll take care of you, don't
hmm,
worry about it," right? But there's always, like, this justice feeling, I guess, amongst some of the other management teams at times that they have to do things exactly the
interesting.
same way.
Yeah, I don't know exactly like, I can't speak on that, but I remember when I worked at Target when I was going through Target training, and this was several years ago, so things may have changed, but I remember they told us at the register, if there's a customer dispute on the price of an item and it's, like, not something you can say 100% one way or the other, and it's within $10, just make the decision right there. They gave us the ability within
Huh.
$10 to so if it's for $20, but you're saying it's only like, it said 12 on the thing, they could just honor it and give it to you at 12.
But I'm wondering, I mean, that was what, maybe 10 years ago?
And that was like 6 or 7?
Okay, so reselling was kind of taking off at that time. So I don't know. I just wonder if you imagine like you're at Target and you're reselling, and we knew each other at that time,
Mm.
and I know that there's a certain item, and I come to you and I buy like 100
Oh,
items.
well, yeah, that would be illegal for sure,
Well,
like
I don't know if it's illegal. You're not committing a crime.
well, if I'm giving it to you at a price that's not
You're working the system.
I don't know.
I
No.
love that look you just gave me. Like, where's Orlando? No, you are. You're working within the bounds of the system.
Okay, so but ethically, like, if you know that the item is not on sale for
No, no, no,
12.
but let's say you don't know. You're in that weird limbo, right? And you have the ability. Well, why are we talking about this? We're
Yeah.
theorizing. Let's move on.
Moving on.
Okay, moving on. All right. Hey, let's. Oh, your random story. You had
Oh
a
yeah, my
random
random
story.
story. This one is kind of interesting. So I bought a backpack, like a photography hiking backpack at a
Okay.
garage sale, and it was pretty interesting because I bought this backpack, and the guy wouldn't budge on the price. I think he wanted 20 for it, and like I started at like 5, and he's like, obviously no. I got up to 10, and then I went up as much as like 18. I was like, how about $18 for this? Like I was trying everything I can to get it
Mhm.
below 20. And he wouldn't budge. He's all, "For 18?" He's all, "No, I would just keep it for that." And finally, I'm like, "Fine, I'll give you the 20 bucks for it." So I give him the $20.
Ooh, you broke.
Yeah, well, it was worth it though, because I knew like these backpacks were selling for like over 80
Okay,
on
no, no, that's
eBay.
good. It's good.
So I buy this backpack and it sold this weekend. And the guy who was buying it asks, he says, like, "Hey, can you take some more pictures on the inside? I want to see what the dividers look like." And we had opened it up and took pictures, but this thing has so many compartments, right? Like it's got so many dividers and stuff.
Okay.
So we go to open it up and we're trying to take more pictures, and this backpack is really heavy. And we found the inside of one of the compartments was like a camping lantern that was, like, really cool, like, really unique looking,
Huh.
and we haven't looked it up, to see, like, if it's worth anything, but we're definitely gonna keep it for the next time we go camping.
So it works.
Yeah, it works, we turned it on, it's like a really
Nice.
cool
So
uh
the other guy almost got a deal, and you took away that deal.
yeah, I almost shipped it, which would've cost me more because that backpack was heavy, and part of that weight was, this lantern that was in there.
Wow. How did you not know the lantern?
There was so many pockets, like, you only
I
get,
can only
what, 12
imagine you probably
pictures?
like chucked that bag a few times.
But it's a photography backpack, so it's all padded on the inside.
Ah,
Uh,
okay.
so it
Interesting.
was kinda random, but, so check your stuff. After we found that, we, like, literally opened up every zipper and we're, like, feeling like, "What if there's something else in here?" Or looking for money or anything, you know?
No, I know, and I posted something on Insta like a couple weeks ago about finding random stuff,
Yep.
and it reminds me one time. I'll tell this quick story. I was at this community garage sale, and this was when I was still ungated for CDs. Actually, was ungated for CDs,
Hmm.
and there was literally like 200 CDs in a box. And I asked the owner, like, "What do you want to do with these?" And she goes, "If you take them all, you can have them for free." And I was like, "Sweet," I did. Oh, this is gonna be a longer story. Can I give a longer story? This is a really good story.
Do it.
All right. You guys like the long podcast. That's what I've
That's
heard.
right.
Okay, this is a story that keeps going and going. So I pick up these CDs and then I go home and I start going through all of them. And, I think maybe only like 15 of them were good. Right. But remember, I got them for free. Right. And those 15, I think they were going for $10 to $20 each. So nice profit already. And then I found $20 in one of the cases. Like,
Nice.
sweet score. Right. But it doesn't end there. So then there's this, there used to be this resale store in downtown San Diego in the North Park area. And I think it was called something vintage. I can't remember, Vintage Marketplace or Vintage Market or something like that. And it's no longer there. It was an awesome store. Like they had some good stuff. It was priced a little higher because they knew what they had. But it was a really great store. It was kind of like hipsterish and everything. And you could trade in CDs. And then with those CDs, they give you credit for their store. So I brought in all these junk CDs that didn't have value, and I think I got like $60 credit. But it doesn't end there. So remember, I went from free CDs to $20 to $60 credit, and then I bought 5 Hawaiian shirts.
At that resale place?
At that resale place.
Okay.
Rain Spooner shirts. Then I sold each of those Rain Spooner shirts, I want to say for at least $50 to $60 each. Okay, so think about it. I went from free to 20 to 60 to $350 profit.
That's incredible. That reminds me of that story. I'm sure you guys have all heard it at some point of the guy who, what did he start with, a spoon or a pen or something? Oh, a paperclip. He started with a
That's right, I've
paperclip
heard
and
the
he
story.
traded it in all the way up to a house, right? And that's kind of what reselling is if you think about it. If you're wise with your sourcing, you buy something for cheap or free in your case, and then you turn it into more money, and then you take that money, that capital, and you reinvest it and you make more money, and
Well, here's what's crazy. I don't know where those $360 went, right? Because then that gave me capital to buy more stuff.
Yep.
Who knows?
Yeah, tens of thousands of dollars now, right? From a free
Maybe.
box of CDs.
Maybe.
So guys, find that junk and sell it.
I do. You know what? I've had people tell me, like, I've come to garage sales and they have like 8 boxes of books. And I'm looking at some of them and I've had people going, I just want these gone, take them all. And I will. And what I'll do is I'll scan them. Like when I'm done doing garage sales, I'll pull off the side of the road, I'll scan them. And all the ones I don't want, I'll just donate right quick.
Take it right back to Salvation Army or Goodwill or something.
And they're good to go. So just be on the lookout for that.
That's awesome.
All right, current topics. Where do you want to start? Should we start with, let's talk about eBay a little bit.
Let's do it.
Okay. First, I want to say it's Q4, and what has eBay not done? What is the thing we were so hoping would happen?
Well, there was a few things. One was that they would, the immediate
payment.
Yeah, immediate payment. That one's a big one. Also, paying the taxes, right? Is that a thing?
No, they took care of that. Remember we talked about that.
So that's done 100%. We're good to go.
As far as I know, they just said, hey, we'll take care of it. Don't worry about it.
Sweet.
And then the other one, we're supposed to be able to send offers to people.
Okay, right. I remember that.
What?
Yeah, I can't do that. Can you do that?
No.
Oh, that's a bummer. Come on, eBay.
And then I really haven't seen anybody on Instagram, like they're supposed to test out with some people. I haven't heard anything. It's like crickets.
Yeah, eBay, if you're listening to this, Pure Hustle Podcast would be a good way to start.
We love you,
things.
eBay.
Yeah,
just please.
We're so positive about you guys. Let us test run stuff. We'll throw it out there to the listeners. And
I'm just. You know what I get now is I get these emails that go, 5 people have items in their carts. Do you get those at all?
No.
No, it's this email. It says there are 5 people with your items in their carts.
But it doesn't give you like their name to like message them or anything?
No, it just tells you that. And so it'll show you the 5 items in the email. I'm sure many of you have seen this. And they'll say, if you reduce your price by 5%, like you may get a sale. So I've done that. Like I think I've done it like 3 or 4 times. 0. It's kind of like Mercari right now. 0.
Oh yeah. Speaking of Mercari, I'll just quickly say I've uploaded some stuff. No sales yet, but to be fair, I intentionally uploaded things that weren't selling on eBay that have been on my eBay store the longest just to
So you
see,
trying
like,
to resell junk on Mercari?
well, I wanted to see, like, is it possible that, like,
Okay.
platform differences, maybe to give Macari a fair shot, I need to just go, like, straight across the board, my best items, and see what platform it sells on, but, yeah, wanted to see the stuff that I'm already iffy about on eBay, would they go on Macari? And so far,
See,
nothing.
maybe I'm wrong. I feel like Mercari. How can I say this? Mercari supports a mob mentality. Do you get what I would say? Why I would say that?
Explain.
I wish you could see Mike's face when I say these crazy things. Like I feel so lost. So what I remember about Mercari that really bothered me, and maybe again, am I whining today? Well, I'm trying to stay positive. I love you, eBay, Amazon. I love you too. Okay, Mercari, we can maybe be friends. So
Hit us up, Macari.
so what Mercari does is, you'll list your item and then so and so likes it. So send,
Mm.
so and so likes it. So and so likes it. And then after you get a bunch of those of you that sell on Mercari, you know this, it'll say, if you reduce your price by so and so, you may be able to sell this item. I'm like, no.
So kinda like the same problem you just complained about for eBay?
What do you mean?
That's the exact same thing you complained about with
Wait,
eBay with the cart.
wait, how? Explain it.
Because you just
Maybe I'm missing something.
okay, so on eBay, your complaint is that they say, "Hey, people have something in their cart. If you lower it by so and so amount,
Yeah,
it
but I'm
might
telling you,
sell."
I don't like that.
Right. So the same problem that you're experiencing on eBay is
Yes.
on. So would they both support a mob mentality?
Well, because then it's like 6 people like your item, 7 people, and if you drop it, blah, 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 right? So
Mm,
if you cave to all these people that don't want to send you an offer, they just want to like your item, then maybe you'll get a sale,
mm,
right? Where eBay, it's like if somebody wants a sale, they send me a best offer,
gotcha.
right? I mean, sometimes you'll get the messages like the one I got today was, how low will you go on this item,
Mm,
right? And what's our rule of thumb? Do you know when we haggle with people?
but silent.
Silent. Like
Yep.
we're like, well, I wasn't silent. I just said, "How about you send me an offer and we'll go
That's
from
a good
there."
one too. Yeah, let them make the first.
Yeah, and they sent me a terrible offer,
Mm.
right? So it wasn't worth my. So I feel that Macari consumes my time, and it's not showing the conversion I
And
want.
here was the problem I was experiencing with Mercari. I was trying to take
We're just being real, by the way. Not trying to be negative.
yeah, and again, like within the next couple months, Mercari might be my favorite platform. Who
Yeah, could
knows,
be,
right?
could be.
But one of the things I was having an issue with was, and it could just be the app on my phone, but I'm trying to move stuff from my eBay listing over. So I'm trying to copy pictures and then the
Mhm.
description. But the problem is, for whatever reason, the listing wouldn't like save as a draft. And so I'd get partway through an item and then I'd go in and then like what I was working on, because I'm going in between tabs, for whatever reason, it would refresh and it's no longer there as a listing and as if I'd have to start all over.
Oh
And I've already
man.
spent like 5 minutes putting stuff in and going back and forth. And I'm like, nope, I'm not listing this item now. Forget it.
Well, that's my thing. I don't know if the time I'm spending now. I do have a helper, so that kind of helped. Right? Because when I got a flat tire, I was at the discount tire shop and I did a bunch of listings,
Mm,
and it was easy. But at the same time, I'm thinking, hey, I could be doing eBay listings that could go for more money. So we'll see. I'm not giving up on more car. You know what? Let's give it till the next podcast,
yeah.
and then we'll give a
Our
verdict,
next update
a
podcast.
next update.
Yep.
So about 3 weeks from now.
Perfect.
All right. We already talked about beginning of Q4.
Yep.
I don't think we need to go over that. What about Walmart and Target limited items? Have you experienced that at all?
Yeah, I've seen those postings. And you know what?
We talked about this before, but it
I
seems
think
like
it's a good thing.
expanding.
I think it's a good thing.
Why is that?
I think it's a good thing because as much as it limits you as a reseller, it's creating the demand that we want. Like we need demand in order for products to sell for the prices we want them to
That's
sell
true.
for.
That's a good point.
And so realistically, when Targets or Walmarts put a 5-item limit on something, a 2-item limit on something, that doesn't mean that there's going to be so many in stock that every single person that wants to come in and buy that item for their kid is going to be able to go in there and just get it at will. Like they're still going to run out of stock, but it's going to make people who are trying to stock up on them have to work harder to get it. And as we know, and I firmly believe, um, most people just aren't willing to hustle that hard. Right? Like most people aren't willing to drive to multiple places to be willing
Such a
to.
judgmental thing you just said, man.
I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that, right? Like I think the people who are spending time listening to our podcast, there's a good chance they're those people who are willing to hustle hard for it,
No,
right?
I agree. I definitely I see what you're saying. I mean, we said this in the very first podcast. Why do we share this
Mhm.
information? Aren't we shooting ourselves in the foot? Are we killing our own kind of business? The reality is, how many people are going to go out there and hustle
Right.
hard?
And if it was easy, if you could just walk in and buy literally every single, I don't know, Furby, just to give an example. If you could buy,
Furbies.
if you could,
You should have gone fingerlings again.
if you could buy every single fingerling or Furby or whatever the hot toy of the year is, and literally fill your cart with 50 of them and then walk out of the store, like it's almost too easy for the people who maybe got lucky at the time that it was there. But if it's a 2 item limit and you have to like work really hard to get it, there's more chance that you're actually going to find them as the person willing to go work for it.
I thought about that because today when I was out and about, I was, I went to store to store to store, and some stores just didn't have the
Yep.
items at all that I was looking for. And I thought, okay, there's two good things out of this. One, that whatever that company is that was selling certain toys, they purposely only sent out so many,
Right.
right? So
Which
it's going to
which
create
creates
demand.
scarcity, which creates demand. Yep.
Dude, little economics 101,
Yep.
right? And
Love
then the
that
other
stuff.
side of it is how many people are going to be willing to actually go out there and,
Yep.
and find these items. And I kept saying that today in the Insta story because that's what it's about. Like OA, online arbitrage, like that's easy. You're sitting at home, you're ordering
Yep.
items, you go pick it up at the store. But here, let me explain. Let's explain a little bit about the 2 item limit. What do you mean by the 2 item limit?
So, like, when you go to the store and you see a little sign that says, like, 5 items per household or 2 items per household, they're limiting the number that you can walk out of the store with, right? So,
But it's not just that. So let's take it a step further so you guys all understand what we mean. Are you tracking with me?
I hope I'm tracking with you.
Okay. So last year, remember fingerlings, right? Like, I'm trying to forget them. Okay. But fingerlings in some stores had like a 2 item limit.
Uh-huh.
But if you found the right cashier, you could get over on that 2 item limit, right? Because the cashiers were the gatekeepers.
Mm,
Now the registers are the gatekeepers. Do you get what I'm saying? So I used to be able to go to self checkout last year, and as long as the person working there or they didn't see me, everything was all good. Like I could scan 50 items and be out the door. Now I'll go to item 3 and they'll say exceeds
I mean,
limit
that
quantity.
only makes sense that they would add that into their software. I mean,
Well, they just did it now. Like Walmart's always like a little bit behind of Target as
mm,
far as their software. But what I noticed was that this definitely is a game changer because you got to find ways to adapt to it. And I shared it with you earlier how I adapted to it,
right.
right? So there's ways, and those of you that follow on Instagram, you saw kind of that. And so I don't know. I don't want to spend all the time, but there's ways to work around it. Like it's not done, but the question is, will you be willing to go out there and do it? Right. And so I hear what you're saying. It's so wild to me.
It's also a good indicator, and it might not be a perfect indicator, but if you see a limit on an item, that might be one sign that that's an item worth picking up, right? Like that's not
Mhm.
a guarantee that that's going to be an item that's going to make you money, but that's a good indicator. I think that like, hey, this might be. I heard before I even got into reselling. Um, I know you were doing it at the time, but I remember my wife was at work and she heard somebody talking an aisle over, like in a cubicle, about a specific what were those things? The
Oh, I've already the
Hatchimals. It
Hatchimals. I
was when
remember the
Hatchimals
story.
first came
Yeah.
out, and I remember I told you about them because she was at I think it was a Target or a Walmart, and she saw that it said limit 5 per customer, and she wasn't even a reseller, but she's like, oh, I wonder if this means that they're like going to be worth a bunch of money. So she bought 5. She had her husband come in and buy 5. She had her son come in and buy 5. And then the next day they went and did the same thing, and then they sold them on eBay, and that was the first thing they'd ever sold. They weren't even
Wow,
resellers,
what a way to start.
and they made a ton of money because her instinct was, "Why are they limiting this item?"
No, I agree. I agree. And there are, for instance, there's an item right now that I found out. I forget how I found. Oh, I remember now. So I was talking to one of the managers. And I go, "Why is there a limit?" Because I think I brought in like 24, and I try to go to self checkout, but self checkout like I was already having issues with the quantity thing. So I thought, hey, I find somebody that's willing to work with me, and sure enough, it was the register that
Mm.
doomed me. And then the manager goes, "You know what? I don't know what's going on. Let me talk to my manager." So then they contacted their manager. And then they went to the store manager. Then the store manager contacted corporate. This is all
Whoa,
within like 10 to 15 minutes. I'm like, oh, like this is the worst.
that's
Like,
intense.
number one, I brought attention to an item I didn't want to bring attention to.
Mm.
Number two, you look at this face, you don't forget this face, especially after 10 minutes. Okay. All right, you sometimes you're like, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be in the dark parking lot with this guy. Okay, whatever it is, right? And then number 3, you know, I gotta be super careful because I'm coming back to the store. So if I burn bridges, it's not a good thing,
Right.
right? So whatever they tell me, I gotta say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, and kind of walk away, right?
Mhm.
Don't act a fool because you're gonna ruin it for yourself and you're
Right.
ruining it for other resellers. And so what ended up happening was they came and go, hey, I really want to make this happen. It's funny, I just talked about managers wanting to work
Uh-huh.
this out. This manager didn't. And he goes, I really want to make this happen. But the company that sells these were very clear that they've only have a limited amount that they've sent to
Mm,
stores. Now, I lost money that day, but that was priceless info.
that's true.
Because now I know there is a Bolo out there.
And knowledge is worth a lot.
Yeah.
A lot, a lot.
And so that's what I've been doing for days and days and days, trying to find those items. Because the scarcity will eventually once it's like a Hatchmo thing.
Yep.
The problem with Hatchimals was they didn't expect such demand and they completely ran out. So then it's whatever price you want to put it at,
Yep.
depending on where the market lands and how people are gonna pay for it. So, anyways, okay.
Good stuff.
All right. So are we at hustles of the week
Hustle
already?
of the
I
week.
feel like
Let's
we're just
do it.
going, going, going. Are we going, going, going? Or is this gonna be a Joe Rogan like kind of 3 hour?
I sure hope not because I'd like to sleep tonight, but
You still gotta work tomorrow, don't you?
I do have to work tomorrow.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. So do I, but maybe I can sleep in a little.
Yeah, you get to work by driving
No,
around
I
and
work like
buying stuff.
I work like crazy. I think I work more now as a reseller than when I was in a school
And we
administrator.
need to have an episode on that where we talk about what it's like as living purely a reseller versus doing both, right?
Oh, I couldn't imagine going to both. I got a lot of respect for all of you. I've been there. But if you're doing both, keep doing it. It's worth it. But I get it. Like it is exhausting. Totally get it. Okay, hustle of the week. You know what? Let me start. Let's share the listener ones.
Yeah, let's do it.
We have 3 of them. So I'm gonna share one. You want to share one after, and then I'll close this off?
Let's do it.
All right, so these were pretty cool. I love these, just because it's not the normal like, hey, I walked into a store and found something and for 5 and flipped it for 20. They're like pretty interesting
Mm,
stories. Okay, so one of them that came about was somebody had they were like I think they're yeah, that's right. Let me pull up their handle name. They were driving along the side of the road and they came across a bunch of books. So think about that. You're driving, right? You're just going home. I don't know what got this individual to go, hey, maybe I should stop and look at these books. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
would you stop if you saw a random tote?
No.
Okay. All right. So this is it. Handle name is Teskenick.
Okay.
I hope I'm saying that right. So Teskenick. Teskenick. It does sound okay?
Sure.
You're the English guy.
Well, yeah, but that's definitely not a normal English word,
Okay,
so
just checking, just
yeah.
checking. All right, so he goes, "Hey, here's my hustle of the week. Driving into work yesterday, I noticed these 2 huge bins on the side of the road for garbage. Okay, I stopped, looked in them, and they were all full of books that were free. I wonder if it said free or he thought they were free.
Because they were at the garbage.
Maybe
I
they
mean,
were.
garbage is free, right? So
I guess
there
so.
you
I
go.
guess so. Okay, sorry, Tessa Nick. So I figured I might as well pick them up because it was about to rain. What a good Samaritan.
Yeah, save books. That's good for you.
There you
Please save
go.
books. Books are good.
I started looking some up when I got home. I'm not even halfway through the first tub, and I found 3 worth $50 each,
Nice.
one $60, and the rest have been in the $5 to $25 range. It's pretty
Holy
awesome.
cow.
I just cannot believe it, and it was all free. They would have been thrown away. And actually, he sent me a picture, and maybe we'll post this sometime. But one of them is a Calvin and Hobbes. You remember Calvin and
Yeah,
Hobbes?
yep.
Complete collection,
Nice.
right? So like the multi-volume
Uh-huh.
one, and they go about. I think right now on Amazon they're going about 50 to 60. And I remember at a garage sale I paid 20 for mine,
Yeah. I've seen
right?
them a couple
And
times.
he got them for free.
Genius.
That is definitely a hustle.
That's a hustle. Hey, if you're willing to stop and look, even if that means in a tote on the side of the road or, something that seems to be potentially garbage or something somebody else wouldn't
See, a
look
guy
at,
like me doing, I don't know if that would work. Would that work for me?
I don't see why not. What's the worst? I remember I used to be a security guard at an apartment complex, and had these guys that came every week, and they'd get bottles and cans out of the trash cans, and I
Okay.
was told to like always kick them out, but they were polite and kind, and I never, it didn't bother me. So I just made sure that they weren't being too much of a problem. And occasionally they'd pull like random stuff out of the trash cans that were like really cool things that were
Huh.
like, oh, this is cool. Somebody's throwing this away. And like they'd fill up their car with it. And I was thinking, like, man, I wish I would have found that in the trash can first, right? Like that was
Well,
pretty
dumpster
cool.
diving's like the cool thing now.
Really?
Yeah, like amongst the reselling community, like I see like tons of people are doing it now.
I'll give you my dumpster diving story.
You have a dumpster? See, I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
do the dumpster diving. The
So,
only time I'll go to dumpster diving is for boxes. That's it. I can't do anymore. Anyways, okay. Shares, and then we'll get to the hustles of the
okay.
week.
So my dad was really big into like working out and weightlifting and all that stuff. And for those of you guys who like buy stuff at GNC, I don't know how you afford it. They charge an arm and a leg for everything. But there was this store in our local area called Vitamin Liquidators, and it was a store that got the overflow and the stuff that was like a few days away from expiration.
Okay.
And so it was really, really cheap. Like you can get like just ridiculous deals there. But my dad, for him, even those deals weren't always enough. So he would ask them like, "So what do you do once they expire?" Because the stuff they'd get would be like expiring in a couple of days. And they'd say like, "Well, we throw it away." Right? My dad like got back in the car and told me like, "There's no way. Like even after this stuff expires, it's still good."
Huh.
And so for like a couple of weeks, we would like go on the day because everything expired like on the same day. Like it was always like on a Saturday or whatever the date was. And we'd drive into the back parking lot and jump into the dumpster and pull out
Nice.
literally boxes full of sealed vitamins and like protein powders and creatine powders and all kinds of stuff. And then my dad kind of on the side would sell expired like workout stuff to his friends who like would go to the
So
gym
that
and work out.
reselling is in the family.
It's in the
Like
family,
it's in
man.
the
Like
veins.
we would dumpster dive for it. And you know what? It was fun. And luckily the trash can wasn't like next to a restaurant where there was like gross stuff. And it was literally just boxes full of unopened, just day old
Huh.
vitamins.
That reminds me of these guys that my son and I, we crack up watching because they would go to GameStops and they would go to the dumpsters and get video games that GameStop dumped and they go and they sell it back to GameStop.
Oh, jeez. For like store credit.
And they actually would get money for it. And then one time they called the cops on them and stuff. But
Oh, it's funny.
it was pretty interesting video. Like I thought about that, like the irony in that.
Yeah.
Just crazy. All right, so thank you, Tescanic, for looking in the trash and saving those books and making yourself some profits. All right, what do you got, Mike?
Cool. I've got one here from at Middleman Hustle. You've actually called in. We've got something I think to play from you a little bit later.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We actually got a voicemail.
Yeah, thank you guys. Guys, call in, right? Like it's a great opportunity. We're gonna play the
Let me
message.
throw the
that we
number
got.
out.
Please do.
619-738-1170. That's 619-738-1170. All data charges apply. That okay?
Thank you for adding that.
I just thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah. All right. I don't think people pay for phone calls anymore. It's just part of the.
I guess so.
People
All right.
don't count minutes. All right. So
Please call us. Anyways, go ahead.
At Middleman Hustle, this one is pretty awesome. He was kind of new to the reselling thing, kind of figuring it out.
A week.
Yeah, like just starting. And he decided for whatever reason to start with like Craigslist arbitrage, right? So he's looking on Craigslist for items and he sees these items on Craigslist. And I believe he said he didn't know anything about Dragon Ball Z, which I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z. What an amazing show. I know they came out with a new one that I haven't watched any of
I
that.
just couldn't get into it.
Really? It's great. See, I'm an anime fan. I'm like a total nerd.
Is Voltron anime?
Yeah, but that's like old school. I wouldn't necessarily call it anime.
But Voltron was awesome.
It was good. It was animated, but it wasn't like your typical
animated.
Japanese, I don't believe. But so he found some Dragon Ball Z figures that the guy was asking for $20 for like a whole group of them. And he didn't know anything about them, but he looked them up and he saw that they were selling on eBay for more. So he met this guy at a mall, paid $20, picks up, I think it was like 4 or 5 of these figures, these Dragon Ball Z figures, starts listing them and has already sold like 3 of them for I think a $30 profit, a $20 profit, and a $10 profit. And he's got like another one to sell. So like, good job, right?
No,
Like
seriously.
Craigslist arbitrage, that's the way to do it if you can. If you got a niche to be in, niche.
Niche? I hate niche. It's niche.
Niche.
Snitch.
Niche.
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 Well, let's not go rhyming. We could go
GIF or
some
GIF?
dark alleys on the rhyming there.
There we go.
Anyways, okay. So at middleman hustles his handle.
Yeah, great job.
Seriously, the fact
Keep it
that
up.
you're reselling by doing arbitrage off of Craigslist,
Yep,
that's next level. That's good stuff.
that is good stuff.
All right. So I'm gonna bring back somebody that was our hustle of the week 2 weeks ago, and he has a different name. And I just needed to share this because I thought it was a great story. So El Borracho. Okay, are you okay that roll my R's?
I could do that.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
good.
thank you.
Wow, I don't know many. Okay, interesting. So he actually has his resale name, which is at bargaining underscore borracho.
Borracho.
Borracho. Okay, so at bargaining underscore borracho. And it's funny because he kind of people, I followed him and he just started his account and he throws this up and he goes, "This could be a hustle of the week. Does anybody know what this could be worth?" So I go to eBay and I research and I see a sold and this item sold for $299 plus $10 shipping. So I DM him back and I'm like, "Dude, is that your item that just sold?" He goes, "Yeah, it was mine." Okay.
Nice.
And I go, and this is what it was. Hopefully I got this right. It's an XL, I think it's 6,800 or 68,000 Mach 2 Master Chess Challenger. So it's this electronic chess game board that you can play against a computer, like vintage.
Nice.
And he picked it up for $5 at Savers. And he sold it for $299 plus shipping. And it's funny because he sold it, and this was late at night. It was like at midnight, and he's DMing me. He goes, "Orlando, like, what do I do? Like, maybe I undervalued this because it's sold so fast."
Uh-huh.
And he lives in Las Vegas. And if you watch Pawn Stars, sometimes they have that toy guy that shows up,
Yep.
and he goes, "I think I'm gonna go to some pawn store." So I'm thinking he's gonna go to Golden Sword
Right.
Pawn, but he didn't. But he went to like Rogue Toys and some of the other toy guys that showed up. And I guess when he showed up at these stores, they're like, "We've never heard of this. We have no idea what it is."
Wow.
He goes, "You might as well just take your money and run." And then he did the smart thing and he set up a trial account with WorthPoint
Uh-huh.
and he tried to look it up and there hasn't been anything for years.
Wow.
So he couldn't find anything there. And so he found like a newer one that was sold for like 900 or something like that, maybe more. But his was like missing pieces and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I think maybe I got it wrong. Either way, hustle of the week, $5 to $300.
Congratulations.
I don't.
You are the man.
Would you have looked that up? No, you would.
Oh,
You're a
yeah,
board
for
game
sure.
guy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know if
I
I would have
would've.
looked it up, but I saw that. I'm like, that's incredible. So definitely a hustle of the week.
Yeah.
All right, tell me about your hustle of the week.
My hustle of the week. All right, so this is an interesting, maybe not. It's probably like my least interesting one, but it's practical, I think. And I mentioned this before about having connections with the thrift stores around and other local sales. And Salvation Army near my house was having, again, it's the second time they've had it. Seems like they do it once every month or once every 6 weeks. $2 any clothing item sale.
Okay,
And
that's a deal.
we love that deal because a lot of times when we go there and we do this $2 sale, we don't get like incredible deals, especially because like my wife and I both work. So we're not in there like early in the morning to like pick up all of the steals. But we still find a lot of things that might go for, let's say, $10 on Posh, right? Which isn't great, but if
Yeah.
you think this is kind of what makes this a hustle, I feel like. It's goes for $10 on Posh. Customer pays the shipping on it. Posh
Okay.
is like the easiest thing to ship for. Any USPS box, so those boxes are free. Ship, the customer pays the shipping.
Okay.
So you're still gonna make a few dollars profit off each item you sell, even if it's cheap items like this. But here's what makes it great. On Posh, customers can bundle, right? So they're looking in your closet and they see items. So if you've got like a really expensive item in there, let's say a sweater, the sweater is an expensive sweater going for $80. And they're thinking, oh, should I buy this? Well, if they bundle, they can get up to, I think it's like a 10% discount.
Okay.
And so a lot of times we've had people who will throw in these cheaper items to get the bundle. So we're still making money on all of it. But a customer who might not have paid for that price because they've come at us a couple of times with offers that were really low, we'll just make the bundle and then we end up making a sale we probably wouldn't have made otherwise.
Huh,
We're
that's
still
good.
selling these $2 items for, once they get their bundle price, $9 or whatever it is. So we're making like $3 or $4 for each of these items, but they're almost like fodder in our store that
Interesting.
draws people in and helps create bundles. So it's been working for
See,
us.
and I hear that, and that I find that encouraging for Poshmark, and I find it discouraging for eBay.
Mm.
Like to me, it just seems, and I know we're going on this train over and over again, but just seems that Poshmark gets it right now.
I mean, it's embraced what social media is today. And social media will probably change in the next 5 years, but it is what it is today, and they've got it.
That's just why. I mean, to me, it's like eBay. Love you, eBay. I maybe might have an eBay tattoo on me, okay? But is that a little extreme?
Hey, you do you.
Okay. Anyway, but here's the deal, like, just put the best offer out there, the
Yep.
the one where you send offers to customers or at least immediate payment. I
Yep.
mean, man, I was a little perturbed this weekend. I had probably 6 or 7 sales and non-payments.
Oof.
And I'm like, we're entering Q4, like, I
Yeah.
can't play that game.
Yep. Yeah, that's always annoying. What was your
Wow,
hustle of the
you're
week?
like moving on. You're like, don't go on this rant. Just Posh has it. I'm
Bosh doing
really,
pretty good. Yeah.
I'm really like I'm to the point where I may start just putting like all my Nike stuff on Posh.
Yeah, we've sold quite a few Nike things on
No,
Bosh.
I see a lot of people selling Nike on Poshmark,
Yep.
and I'm like, and my stuff sells on eBay, and it sells for good money. Like I sell. The thing I like about eBay is like it's I get high buyers,
Mm.
but at the same time, maybe they're in Posh, and I just don't know.
And I also wanna say, I wanna amend something I said a few weeks ago, because I still might be right, but
You think
I could
everybody
be wrong.
remembers?
Probably not.
All
But
right.
but something I said a couple of weeks ago was that I believed, because we're looking at different platforms, like what is the target market in
Yeah.
that platform and what are we selling? And I mentioned that it's probably women, more women on Posh than men, and that may be true. I don't have any numbers, but we have sold probably at least half the things we sell or more are men's items. So
Really?
I think I might be totally wrong. It's either, it could be women buying things for a male in their life, or it could just be that I was wrong and there's men and women both on Posh.
Well, you have to share closets though, right?
Yeah, like it's a whole
See,
thing.
that's the one thing that gets me is the sharing closet thing. Because right now, I probably have about 30 good quality clothing items that are with their own Posh, but I
Mm,
can't just throw it on Posh and just leave it there, right?
no, you gotta be active.
Yeah, see, and that's just one more thing. But you know, maybe I could hire a VA to do that.
You could, and one thing, one of the ladies that, my wife follows on Poshmark, eBay Princess, if you're listening to us, that would be awesome.
I'm pretty sure
My
she's
wife is,
not.
like, really into your stuff. But, one of the
She's
things.
awesome, by the way.
Yeah,
I
eBay
just don't know
Princess.
if she's listening to our podcast though.
If you guys know her, let her know. Listen to Pure Hustle
There you go.
podcast.
Tag us.
Yeah.
Tag us on a message that you somehow sent to her. All
Yeah,
right,
that'd
go
be
ahead.
great. So, yeah, so eBay Princess made a comment, and I probably have the quote a little bit wrong here, but something to the effect of, um, after several years of Poshmark, of being active on Poshmark, it's finally to the place now where it's way outperforming eBay. That,
Huh.
like, now she doesn't have to put in the work. It was years of sharing and building a base and getting followers, and then after that foundation has been laid, like, now she doesn't have to share and follow and share and all of those things. She's got enough of a base that it just works.
So it's kind of like eBay. You build that pipeline of inventory, but Posh, you have to build in a pipeline of inventory and followers.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
so, and again, I think that's one of those things that's beautiful for us as hardworking hustlers is I feel like most people are gonna give up before the couple of years of hard work, right? So if you're
Interesting.
willing to put in those couple of years of hard work, then it's gonna pay off for you.
See,
Which brings up, since I mentioned quote, I didn't give a quote of the week yet.
wait, we got so much to do still. Are you sure? I
So
don't
the
know if we're
quote
gonna go.
of the
Oh
week.
my. Okay,
Here
go
we
for it.
go. I
I'm not going on my phone. I'm just seeing. Oh, we got another follower.
This
Okay,
is this
let's
is
go
what
with this.
happens when I do quote of the week. He, like, shuts down
I
and,
know.
like,
Okay,
looks
go ahead.
away, and alright, so I'm probably gonna say this one wrong. When I give these quotes, they're never 100%, verbatim. They're just, close.
The things
I
Mike makes
paraphrase
up.
them.
Okay,
I wish if I made
you're
this
an
stuff up,
English guy. Shouldn't you like have like this?
I should cite them correctly,
Cite
MLA
them, yeah.
formatted.
Give the right attribution and
Yeah,
stuff.
no. So this one, well, fine. If I'm gonna cite it, it comes from a book, Finding Ultra. Um,
What is?
it,
Okay,
it
anyways, go ahead.
great book about a guy who turns his life around from being an alcoholic overweight man to a person who runs marathons and triathlons, and it's
Oh,
really good.
wow.
But
Okay.
anyway, so he pulled the quote from somebody else. But the quote was this: "When you believe that you've reached the limit of your potential, you've only tapped into 40% of what you're capable of. Your boundary is not your body; it's your mind." And I think that's really good for me right now, because if you're a pure hustler, you're working hard all the time, and there's times where you're exhausted, you don't know if you can list anymore, you don't know if you can source anymore, you just wanna take days off, you just wanna just stop for a little bit and kind of recuperate, and I think it's encouraging when you think of if this is true, if when you reach your breaking point, you've only tapped into 40% of what you're capable of, and your mind is capable of more, you just have to believe it and go. Um, it's encouraging, right? Just keep going, keep hustling.
No, I agree. I agree. Okay. That quote's it's okay. I don't know if it's scientifically backed, but it's good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's move on.
What a
We
cynical person you are,
I
Orlando.
just am I just I just feel like I'm being that today. I don't know why. Anyways. All right, we'll move
My
on.
next quote is gonna be about being, positive,
Okay.
and
Hey, you know what? We
we'll
get why
point
don't
that one
we
at
what
Orlando.
speaking of quotes, why don't we get into our one voicemail before we get
Yeah,
into our
let's hear it.
bonus?
Yeah. So here we go. Again, I believe this is at Middleman Hustle.
Yeah.
So, something sold for $190.
What you sell?
Woo! Okay. I don't know if I told you guys this. I have my phone off because unlike Orlando, I don't want like noises happening. So you would have heard the cha-ching. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see I'm pointing the phone there. $190. I bought this for $20. It was a underwater
Wait, on
sea camera.
Mercari?
No, it was
Okay.
eBay. eBay.
Okay.
So I bought this thing for
Repeat again. I think
$20.
I cut you off. What was it?
$20 for an underwater camera. It's like a digital camera with the casing. I paid $20 for it. It didn't have a battery, so I had to pay like $8 to get a battery off of Amazon for it.
Okay.
Tested it out, just sold it for $190. So thank you, thank
Nice.
you.
So
All
is
right.
that your hustle of the week then?
No, my hustle of the week was $2 Salvation Army sales. This will be my hustle for next week.
Sorry.
Just kidding. All right, here we go.
I love how these podcasts go sometimes.
All right.
Wait, I didn't even give my hustle.
Oh,
Did I not give my hustles? Let me give my hustle. Or should we go to the voicemail?
it better be a good hustle. Let's hear it.
Okay, it's not an amazing hustle. I enjoyed it though. This is why. So for whatever reason, the fact that I've been to Walmart so much over the past week, I've developed a relationship with managers. Like they know me by my name now. It's just been pretty cool. And we talked about those limited items.
Right.
So some of those items showed up the very first day. Like the very
Mm,
first day they showed up, I showed up at the same time they're putting them out.
nice.
And she saw me and I say, "Hey, how's it going?" And she goes, "Oh, I know who you are." I'm
Mm,
like, "Oh no." She goes, "No, you're here all the time." I'm like, "Yep, I'm here all the time." I go, "Do you have any more of these?" She goes, "Sure, we have plenty of these in the back."
mm,
So I said, "Are you okay if I buy everything?" She goes, "Yeah." I go, "What if you run out?" She goes, "You know what? I'm gonna order some more to come to the store." And I'm like, "Hey,
nice.
can I buy those?" She goes, "Sure."
Oh, man.
So like,
Now
I'm
that's
like,
a hustle.
no, it wasn't. And all it took was just a smile and just say, "How's your day?" and blah blah blah. And then I think I gave her my business card. I can't remember. I remember thinking I wish I had it on me, so maybe I didn't.
Mm,
But she knew who I was, and now I have that connection at that store. And then I went to another store, another Walmart store, and I was in conversation. And I said, "Hey, do you have a certain item?" It was one of those hot items last year. He goes, "Oh,
mm,
I know exactly what you're talking about." And I go, "Well, what do you guys have?" He goes, "I only have these 2 right here. That's all
mm.
he sent us." I'm like, "Oh, are you gonna get any more?" He goes, "No, but I wanna let you know, like, you probably should pick these up wherever you can because they're only doing 1 shipment now, and they're not doing another shipment till, like, after November."
Wow.
So I already know, like, I can calculate that that item's gonna fluctuate in price,
Mhm.
right, mid-November, around Black Friday, and I better sell it before December. Because you know what happened with the fingerlings was
Spiked.
it spiked, and then whatever reason, the company
Crashed.
Wowie or whatever just flooded,
Yep.
and then I'm still stuck with those fingerlings in my totes at home.
I think that's a genius marketing strategy. That's what I would do if I was a company. I'd only release, like, a very, very small amount, even though I have a ton of them, to create this idea of a demand, this kind of false sense of scarcity, and then flood the market, and people will just buy them up because they think, "Oh, this must be great. Maybe I can resell for a ton of money."
You know what?
Great
But
job, fingerlings. Wonderful
here's the
marketing.
funny thing that I am definitely we haven't talked about this. We're gonna talk about this in another episode that resellers sometimes they direct that market.
Yeah.
Like right now, if it's all resellers buying this item I'm looking for, like we're gonna make money not because it's the hot item in demand, it's because we created the demand
Mm,
and we set the price. Right? So I don't know, but it's been good. And then I went to another Walmart. So I have these stores, and now the managers of like the toy area are willing to work with me, and they said, "Sure, come by, let me know, and I'll set you up, and we'll get all this inventory to you." So it's good. So I'm able to work over the limits,
right.
right? And then I don't have to go through the whole awkwardness of like self checkout and
Mm.
scanning only so many items to buy at one time and so on like that. So I see that as a hustle of the week.
Oh, that's great. That's an incredible hustle. I can't wait to have a story like that.
All right, now let's go to the voicemail.
Voicemail, here we go.
Okay. Again, this is at Middleman Hustle. That's his handle on Instagram. Let's see what he has to ask us or share.
Hey, Mike and Orlando. This is Middleman from Middleman Hustle on Instagram. I just saw this morning that the European Union is hitting Amazon with an antitrust probe, accusing or looking into whether or not Amazon is actually collecting data from third-party sellers, from billions of transactions to see whether or not Amazon is using that data to boost their own sales on the platform, basically using the third parties' transactions to make their own better. And so it's very interesting with eBay currently boosting their marketing in order to get more people to their platform. If that's going to affect whether or not where we should list. Should we go to Amazon or should we go to eBay? So it's just a topic for discussion that I'm thinking about. I'm currently only on eBay at the moment, but I've been thinking about going to Amazon. But with this information kind of looming out there, it's kind of making me wonder, like maybe I should just stay with eBay since they're boosting up their marketing and increasing their users. So thanks again for all you do, and I'll talk to you next time.
Huh.
Oh,
In- Interesting.
yeah.
So what do you think?
Okay, so this might be controversial because I know there's a lot of people who kind of have very strong feelings about privacy with information, especially on the internet and
Okay.
things like that. But I've got kind of two theories on this. One is we give up a certain amount of privacy for convenience.
Okay.
That's a transaction everybody makes, whether consciously or not. Like we all agree to certain giving up certain freedoms, as it were, or privacy in order to have convenience.
Okay.
And I think part of that I'm okay with, and I think that Amazon is an incredible platform that for both buyers and sellers, and companies now, big companies are trading in information as a source of currency, right? Like it's not just how many sales they make, but how much data can they collect? Because is Amazon just using this data just to sell like a specific item? Probably not. It goes into bigger amounts of data that's collected, which is then used to further marketing of different types of products from different companies, and then that information gets sold, and it's usually raw data. I feel like nobody cares what Joe Schmo in blank city is doing with what they're buying, but they want like an aggregate, like total data of what people are buying and selling, what demographics, is it men, is it women, what age group, so that they know how to market and target that marketing, which you know, for whatever it's worth, it works and it's, I'm okay with that. I don't think Amazon is if Amazon grows as a company and this helps them grow as a company, rising tide raises all ships, right? Like, so if you're a seller, like maybe you lose out a little bit if they're using the data to increase what items they should have in inventory. And then so you lose out on a sale occasionally, maybe you lose out on that. But if Amazon is succeeding and you're selling on Amazon, you're going to succeed with them.
Huh. And I think you're like at the top level conversation on that one. I just want to bring it down a
Bring
little
it
bit.
down, please.
So I'm not at the intellectual level of Mike here,
Oh, come on now.
but the ultimate thing here is it's what we've always been saying, and there's three aspects to this. Number one, we can't be too concerned about what's going on. I mean, we're talking about antitrust legislation, right? We're talking about Europe. We're talking about, items that when it gets down to it, is it going to directly affect your sourcing and so on? And it may, right? If Amazon gets some data and they figure out that certain items they should get more of, right? So they can sell. Because remember, your competitor in Amazon most of the time is Amazon.
Right.
It's not the sellers, because as soon as Amazon sets a price, it brings everybody's price down,
Mm,
right? You could have that one seller that like undercuts everybody by $30, but right away people are going to buy that person out, and then the price goes back to where everybody has it.
right.
But when Amazon does it, it changes everything. But when it gets down to it, it's this thing we keep talking about is diversifying your platforms.
Right.
Right? eBay, here's the thing, and I know I've been on eBay's case, but if eBay gets this right, and I'm hoping this Q4 they do. If they get the send offer thing and this immediate payment right, I think Poshmark's going to get left behind.
Oof, I think you're wrong.
I think I'm right, and this is why. Because people still go to eBay. eBay is still the thing. I watch shows and people are like, "Where'd you get that?" And people are like, "eBay." They don't go Poshmark. They don't go Mercari. It's in our culture. It's like American,
Agreed.
right? And
I'm not saying eBay's going anywhere, but in the same way that Facebook is still around, Instagram is changed a lot of what Facebook is, right?
I get that. I get that. But I think this is different because you also eBay, like you can buy anything pretty much, right? You can sell pretty much anything, right?
It's true.
There's some things that there's limitations on, and it's you don't have to share. You don't. All you have to do is find that right item, and you list it, and you put it up. And if your price is right and you get the right buyer, it comes together.
Agreed. eBay is awesome. I don't think it's going anywhere.
Right? But so that's my thoughts. Now, that's what, and in saying that, I think that let's say Amazon kind of, and I worry about this, let's say Amazon does end up, kind of really eliminating their third party sellers, which I don't think they're going to do. I've seen numbers that like 70% of Amazon sales are from third party sellers.
Mm.
So they're not going to eliminate the third parties, but they're making it harder for people that are just starting Amazon to get into Amazon.
Oh yeah, it's almost I'm having a difficult time breaking in for sure.
Yeah,
And I've been trying hard.
and and I feel really terrible for you, like because the only reason I can sell what I can sell on Amazon, it's not because I did anything better or I hustled harder. It's just
Right place, right time.
I was at 7, 8 years ago when I was selling textbooks. I never knew that those would count towards my metrics.
Right.
So with all that being said, is stay focused on your day to day. Like, just keep doing sell on both platforms. Try to get ungated on Amazon by selling as much as you can and having those good metrics, and then keep building that eBay. And in time, if things do fall apart for Amazon, you have eBay. Or if eBay goes away because Poshmark takes over and people no longer go to eBay, you still have Amazon. There's also Mercari. There's also, there's all these other places. I heard a new one today, Go. I never heard of Go. Have you heard of Go?
Nope, but I'm ready to jump on it.
Okay. Dude, there's StockX. There's so many, you can't jump on all of them. But maybe
You could
can,
try.
You could try. But again, stay focused on the day to day because we can get caught up. Today I saw a YouTube video about how this NAFTA agreement and also the importation fees that are being put on products coming from China is going to affect sellers. Like if you're doing private label, it's going to affect you, but only so much.
Right.
Ultimately, is if you have an item that others can't get a hold of, that you can price, that people are willing to pay, Economics 101, scarcity, law and demand, all play, not law and demand, supply and demand, all play a part, and the business will still be there. That's why I believe even if we have an economic crash, there will still be a place for resellers. Do you feel confident about that?
Yeah, because a crash there's always crashes. It's an ebb and flow. So I think during that downturn, there's probably going to be a huge hit to resellers, but there's always going to be where the market's coming back up, another expansion. So it's a long tail game, right? It's just like investing in the stock market. If you're investing, and then as soon as the prices start to drop, you jump out. That's wrong, right? Like that's when you should be buying is when the prices are dropping, because you know that over the course of 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, the market moves up, and I think it's going to be the same with if you're constantly scaling. You might take a hit one year, and if it's your livelihood, it's probably going to be hard, right? But
Mhm.
but if you're still working and buying things and moving in the right direction and everybody else jumps off the train, then as the market starts to come back up and you're the one still working, you're going to benefit and you're going to reap the
It's very
reward for
true.
that.
Yeah. All right. So hopefully that answered your question, middleman hustle. I know we could have gone in all direction that, but we just day to day stick one day at a time. All right. Put that hustle in. All right. Hey, Bolo. No, we already did Bolos. No, we didn't do
We haven't
Bolos.
done Bolos yet.
Okay. I'll share mine really quick.
All right.
So, hey, by the way, if you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, please do. We're trying to build that. If you see our videos and you watch them, like them, subscribe to us, comment. I don't know. For some reason, we got a couple videos that people thumb down to us.
Oh,
I don't know.
that's so
Like,
sad.
we must have just said something that people just didn't like. Now, I get it. Like, you're not going to like everything we have to say, but I just was like, what does it take somebody to put, I'm going to thumb down these people?
Yeah. Well, maybe they don't like bearded men. That could
Or
be,
bald guys or.
or maybe they're like, I tried eBay and I didn't do well, and so I hate these guys because they do well on eBay. Whatever.
It could have been something.
Haters gonna hate.
There you
Taylor
go.
Swift.
Thank
Quote of the week.
Wow. All right.
I don't know if
Anyways,
that's Taylor
hey,
Swift.
please subscribe to us and also share our podcast. If you haven't had a chance, please share our podcast. Review our podcast if it's a good review.
Yeah. If it's a bad review, keep it to yourself. Or email us and we'll talk to you about it.
There you go. We want to share this information. I mean, we're growing on Instagram. We're growing on YouTube. Our podcast listens are going up every week. We just want to expand even more because, again, we're here to help other people level up. And I hope you've seen that. Like, I had a lot of people comment like, well, you guys keep giving. And that's what we want to do.
Right.
We want to give and we want to give more. So anyways, just throwing it out there. Okay, Bolo. So I kind of shared this a few weeks ago, but now that Q4 is here, I want to make sure that you all are understanding that, this whole idea of supply and demand plays a huge part when you're looking at items that only certain stores share. Right? So a lot of you know about the Target exclusives, you know about the Walmart exclusives. We talked about how certain items only Costco sells. And actually this last week I went to Costco and they had a bunch of items. I'm like, these are going to be good money makers. I can't tell you what they are right now, but I thought,
get to Costco quick. Start looking around. Scan everything.
yeah, I know. But the sad thing was there was no listings for most of the stuff I scanned.
Mm.
But all it takes is one person willing to put in the work, and then everybody jumps on. But I want to let you know, like, look for now. Don't only look for like store exclusives. Look for items that only certain stores sell. Like right now, I think of a certain game that you can't find at Walmart, you can't find at Target, but you can find them at certain discount stores.
Mm.
And I know that game sells for 3 times of what I put into it. So I want to make sure we're looking into that. So that's my Bolo.
It's good stuff. I like it.
What do you got?
My Bolo. Again, I'm not an expert. This is my first season doing this, winter season. So every kind of, I feel like things change. But I've been picking up some snowboard boots and skiing boots, and they're
Okay.
starting to sell. And I've noticed that more of them are ending up in thrift stores right now. So I don't know if
Yeah.
that's thrift stores have kind of been holding them until it's getting towards winter season, but they're coming out at relatively inexpensive prices, because I think people, it's not the season 100% yet for people to be out snowboarding and skiing and things like that, but we're getting there and people are starting to recognize that, and I'm selling them. And so if you see snowboard boots and ski boots, look it up. Might be a good model, might be worth something.
Yeah, definitely do the research because those run the gamut.
Oh yeah, I've found some that it's like the thrift store is charging $15 and they're selling for $8,
Mhm.
right? They're just worthless. But there's some where the thrift store is still selling it for $15 and they're like $200 boots. So
Nice.
there you
So you
go.
picked up some of those at Salvation Army, I saw.
Oh yeah,
Good for you.
I sure did. I picked up one pair though, and I didn't do enough like looking at it, and I got it home and I realized like the sole was coming off, and
Huh.
So I just threw that one
Oh,
away.
it's the worst.
Yeah.
At least it didn't get to a buyer and the soul was coming out. I've
Yeah,
had that happen.
no.
It's the worst.
Yeah, I always do a much more thorough inspection when I'm taking pictures. I should take that time in the store though.
Okay, no, I get it. I get it. All right, hey, so what are we looking forward to? I'll share mine real quick. I want to send shipments to FBA every single weekday.
Must be nice.
That's my goal. What is your first shipment?
So what I'm looking forward to is
Exactly. All right.
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah.
but that's my hope. My hope is that the first few hours of the morning I'm sourcing. The last 3 hours before I pick up my boys from school, I'm packing them all up, and then I'm just dropping off at the UPS store every single weekday. That's my goal.
Good stuff. Huh? What am I looking forward to? So I remember
He's aiming low.
I'm not aiming
He
low. I'm
wants to
actually
make
aiming
sure
really-
he makes it.
I'm picking something that there's no way I could do in a week or two. So this is like a little bit more long term.
Okay.
But I remember how excited I was to reach 100 items in my store.
Oh yeah, and you're there.
Yeah, there now.
And on Poshmark, you got the stuff.
Oh yeah, so like we're well over that. But there was this battle for a while where every time I'd get close to 100, things would sell, and it was like a good problem. But it was like I want to get over 100. My new number is 500. I want 500.
Nice.
And it's going to take a lot of work to get there because as much as I source, if we're getting a sell every week, if we're averaging 10 to 15 sells in a week, that means I've got to be sourcing quite a bit more than that in order to be increasing my store. So
I agree. And I've been there. But once you get to that 500, it's a game changer. I mean, that's when I started having the daily sales. And that's when the bigger items would sell more consistently because I built that pipeline that's totally worth it to you. So, all right, hey, we got to wrap this up because I think our battery's about to die.
Oh, yeah.
Are we pretty close?
We're pretty close.
You sure it's not dead?
It's not dead yet.
All right, hey, if you haven't followed us yet, we are Pure Hustle Podcast on Instagram.
Yeah.
We are Pure Hustle Cast on Twitter.
Yeah.
Pure Hustle Podcast on YouTube.
Yeah.
Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. I was waiting for the other yeah.
Yeah.
No, we're not getting that? All right. And I think we've hit, hey, make sure to send us a voicemail if you want, 619-738-1170. You can email us, purehustlepodcast@gmail.com. I think we covered everything, right?
I sure hope so.
All right, so it's Q4. Make sure to be real.
Be relevant.
And be reselling.
Peace.